Ladies and gentlemen, ladies, we got some crazy stuff to talk about. Tucker Carlson get this weak, ashy elbow type of apology, and I got to talk about it. Also, the Heritage Foundation decided to apologize too. I guess I was right about it. Nick Fuentes and Ben Shapiro go edit, and I think this is one of the most epic videos that Ben Shapiro has made about the topic. And also, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she might as well register as a Democrat. Welcome to the Officer Tatum Show.
If you don't believe that we are in a fight today, you're sleeping under a rock. If you get hit and you lay down and you cry and you fold up in the corner, definitely you will not win the fight. We show up to win. Our culture needs a lot of you young people in here to step up and stand out. There is nothing or no principality, power, division, devil can stop us when we're united. They can only get you when you're divided. When I see the American flag, I see us progressing to something that can be awesome and great. And if you don't plan on winning then, you might as well go on today.
Welcome back to the Officer Tatum Show. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to follow me on all the platforms that you are on. I'm on every platform. I'm omnipresent, baby. So follow me on the YouTube, our new YouTube channel, which is the Officer Tatum Show podcast. Follow me on Substack, the Officer Tatum on Substack. Follow me on every platform when it comes to X, Instagram. All of that is the Officer Tatum. So make sure you follow me. I'd appreciate it, especially if you love my content. Now let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, Tucker Carlson. I like to just call him all kind of crazy name because he gets zero respect from me. He used to be, in my opinion, one of the leading voices, or was he? Or was it just a script that Fox News wrote for him and his producers wrote for him to curate what he should and shouldn't say to make him the people that we want, or the person that we wanted to hear? Because the way that he has been acting as of late, since he's had his own show, has been incredibly bizarre. And I don't know how the average person can't just see it. This guy is flip-flopped on I don't know how many topics. I want to play his old clip. Tucker on Israel, clip 102. I want to play that old clip of Tucker Carlson. And you just explain to me, and before we get to his apology, his weak apology, mind you, just explain to me, how did Tucker go from this to that? People often say, Brandon, you changed. You taking money from APAC. But yet, this dude really changed. This dude really had foreign money coming into his podcast. This dude had an Iranian American, which, and also, I believe, and I got to verify this because I looked it up once, but I got to make sure that it's 100%. Iranian American, and I believe another company that's like backed by Qatar or something that supported him tremendously in the startup of his new podcast. This dude is really getting foreign money. And y'all still talking about $7,000 I ain't never seen. But let's listen to what Tucker Carlson felt like and how Tucker Carlson contradicts the new Tucker Carlson on this clip. Roll it.
It's perfectly valid to question America's relationship with Israel. Israel has a lobby. It's perfectly fair, as far as I'm concerned, to beat up on Israel's lobby. But I don't think that's the reason that Buchanan is being labeled an anti-Semite. It's this kind of, as I've said, this relentless bringing up topics related to Judaism. I mean, famously, Pat, always beats up on Goldman Sachs, but never Morgan Stanley. I mean, it's really hard to. There is no point at which Pat Buchanan has held a press conference and said, I really don't like the Jews. I think they're a sinister force in America. But I think, and it took me years to come to this position. I mean, I'm not throwing the term anti-Semite around. But you reach a point when you say, well, gee, here's a guy who has gone out of his way to defend Demjanjuk and other accused Nazi war criminals, who's constantly attacked Israel, who's attacked American Jews for supporting Israel unduly, who's implied that American Jews push America into wars in which non-Jews die. There really is, and again, I'm not hysterical on this subject, but I do believe that there is a pattern with Pat Buchanan of needling the Jews. Is that anti-Semitic? Yeah. I mean, after a while, you conclude it is, in some sense, anti-Semitic. I mean, Pat Buchanan obviously has a lot of personal and affectionate relationships with people who are Jewish. So on a personal level, perhaps he's not. But on a different, maybe thematic level, I think he probably is. I think that people should be allowed to have differing views on immigration. I think people should be allowed to point out the fact that there is an Israeli lobby, and yes, it's powerful, and debate the merits of that, I guess. I don't think there's, strictly speaking, anything wrong with that. But again, I think Pat Buchanan is part of the reason it's so hard to have that conversation, because he discredits it by his presence, because he gives people who watch him carefully the sense that he has another agenda that has to do with personal dislike, and that he believes in conspiracies, and that he believes that the Jews are this sinister, secretly organized force trying to affect American politics. And those aren't discussions I think normal people, sober people should be having, because I think they're ludicrous.
Sometimes I think that Tucker is really P. Buchanan. Is that a conspiracy? This dude is literally talking to himself in the past. Like, bro, you are the one that are doing these things. So Tucker Carlson come out and he make this statement about that conservatives or Christian Zionists are heretical. Their theology is against the Bible. He despised them more than anybody else. We do have that clip.
How do you explain Mike Huckabee, Ted Cruz, and there are a lot like that, John Bolton. I mean, I've known them all, George W. Bush, like Karl Rove. I mean, all people I know personally who I have seen like be seized by this brain virus, and they're not Jewish. Most of them are self-described Christians, and then the Christian Zionists who are, well, Christian Zionists. Like, what is that?
Right.
And I can just say for myself, I dislike them more than anybody, because like, what? Because it's Christian heresy, and I'm offended by that as a Christian. That's why. So I don't, like, why not? Like, I'm pissed at the neocons, very pissed. I've said that a million times. I've been mad since December of 2003 when I went to Iraq.
But then now let's listen to his fake apology, because it's almost like when you get whooped and people start, like weak people, when you start getting backlash, now you want to start apologizing for things. But tell me, were you wrong then or are you wrong now? Were you lying then or are you lying now? Because you cannot say, like, that's like me saying, if a person is anti-Zionist, that I despise them, I don't like them, they get on my nerves, they're the worst kind of people, is heretical to the Bible. And then one day I go, well, I'm actually sorry, I didn't mean it. What you mean you don't mean it? Do you not believe in the Bible anymore? Because you referenced the Bible. You said it's a heresy, a Christian heresy. Now all of a sudden you don't believe the Bible, or were you lying the first time? I get worked up on this stuff, man. Because that little weenie that he interviewing with, Dave Smith, which is the weakest dude on planet Earth, probably have a wet handshake. I can't stand that dude. And he said something crazy about me, and I'm going to blast him tomorrow online, and we'll get to that. And I'm going to play the clip that he said. But first, let's stick on topic. Tucker Carlson, this is what he said in his fake apology, wrote a clip.
But I just want to say at the outset, because this has been weighing on me, I did say something that I really regret saying that I didn't fully mean.
You didn't fully mean.
Because I was mad, which is always when I say things I don't really mean, when I get pissed.
Time out. Y'all remember the clip that I just showed you? Did he seem like he was really mad in that clip? Did he seem like he lost his temper in that clip? He calmly said this. Roll it.
I was snippy and I didn't explain it. And I said something to the effect of, I despise Christian Zionists. And I'm just sorry that I said that, because I don't. I'm mad at a certain kind of thinking. Some of the nicest people I know are Christian Zionists, actually. You know, if you're in a car crash, they would save you. If you need someone to watch your bank account, they wouldn't steal from you. They're like really good people and sweet people. I want to be very specific quickly about what I was talking about. In at least a couple of different occasions, the Israeli government bombed churches in Gaza and killed a bunch of Christians. And not an accident, of course. I mean, this is like a very high-tech military with precision. I mean, they
time out. Now, where is your information that it wasn't an accident? Tucker Carlson has no evidence that was done intentionally. The prime minister said it was not done intentionally. It was an accident. One of the church bombings, Benjamin Netanyahu addressed when I interviewed him. And he said that it wasn't an accident. You look at the video, or you look at the picture of the actual damage, it does look like shrapnel from something else hit the side of the church. It wasn't direct bombed like this. And then he apologized for it. They fixed the church. They now protect the church. And he apologized to the Pope, whom accepted his apology. Now, where do you get that it was intentional? because you're gaslighting us. You apologize for something that you knew you shouldn't have said because you were wrong, and now you're saying, but now I'm going to push more conspiracies. There's no evidence, no unequivocal evidence that it was intentional. And then you want to compare it to the beeper thing. Think about this. If they bomb a Christian church and they're saying, we didn't do it intentionally, and you compare it to the beeper thing, which they admitted that they did intentionally, you're saying it's the same thing. They're going to lie about this and they're going to lie. Roll it.
Gave pagers with bombs in them to Hezbollah. So like this is a military, a national defense institution that understands what it's doing. They didn't accidentally bomb 2 churches and kill these Christians, and they never apologized for it. And so I brought this up with a couple
Time out. We're going to pull this clip from my interview with Benjamin Netanyahu, where he addressed the Christian church bombing. And you said they never apologized for it. How are you gonna gaslight and lie in your own apology? We'll pull it up on the screen when we get it. Roll it.
Christian leaders, including the Speaker of the House, and said, like, what is, we're paying to bomb churches? Because we're paying for it. And the response I got from every single one was, the Bible commands us to support Israel. And I said, so Jesus is telling us that we need to get on board with murdering Christians? Is that what you're saying? And they basically were just like, shut up.
Time out.
And I found that.
I put that on my life that Speaker Johnson didn't tell him this. I put that on my life, in front of the world, that there's no freaking way. I've met Speaker Johnson. I've talked to Speaker Johnson before. There's no way that Tucker Carlson came to Speaker Mike Johnson and said, why are we paying for them to blow up these buildings? And he go, the Bible says so. The Bible says we have to protect them. And that's all he said to Tucker Carlson. I put it on my life. Tucker, and I know you're too much of a wussy with a P to debate me on any of this stuff or talk about any of this stuff or show proof of it. I could bring Mike Johnson on right now, and you prove to me that Mike Johnson said that to you. That Mike Johnson, and all the politicians I asked just pretty much said, they blew me off and said that the Bible says so. Not one politician told you after you said that they're bombing and killing Christians, that the Bible told them so. You know doggone well that that's not true. This is why I can't stand these people. You know there was either you didn't ask them at all, or it was a more in-depth conversation of what the America's responsibility to continue to support Israel in spite of the faults that they have. Lord help me. Roll the clip.
Extremely, as a Christian, extremely upsetting. And I've never kind of gotten over that, but I should have said that. That's what I was talking about specifically. We cannot support the murder of innocents. I don't care what the pretext is. That is not allowed in our religion. And if it is, then it's not my religion. That's not what the New Testament says at all. It's not even a close approximation of what it says. There's no justification for that in the New Testament, period. So I am distressed. I don't hate. I shouldn't have said despise, but I'm very distressed about that. And that's specifically what I was talking about. So I just want to apologize sincerely for not being clearer.
Is he done? Yeah, to get this off my channel. Let me just break this down real quick. This guy is gaslighting people so much, and he has lost so much. I lost all respect for him. You are saying that you were so upset of something that Mike Johnson allegedly said to you, where God is my witness, he didn't say it to you. You so upset that you go and make a statement like that in fury. But Nick Fuentes comes on your show and says that he's friends and he's an admirer of Joseph Stalin. And you're not upset about that? You claim that Israel is killing innocent people and you so just distraught about it. And our Bible says, as Christians, we can't accept it. No way, no how. But you did not say nothing when you were interviewing a guy about Joseph Stalin, who not only killed Christians, not only burned down churches, he hated God, he hated Christianity, and he killed millions of people. And that don't make you upset as a Christian? But these fake conversations you having about Israel with Speaker Mike Johnson, somehow just you lost your mind and you apologize that you ever said it because Christian Zionists. let's clear this up. So do you believe that it's biblical that we should support Israel, or do you believe that it's a heresy? Because you are now saying you apologize and you didn't mean it. Do the Bible still say what you claim the Bible say or not? Screw these people, man. I'm sick of these people. Let's for real quick, let's put what Dave Smith said about me on here. What a wussy. I cannot stand Dave Smith. That dude is such a beta. He gets online and it's just a lying sack of you know what. And then all these wussies with a P, what they do is they get on there and they go, they're just here to kill innocent children. Like there's a city where all the children go. And Israel just bombs the children. In a war where you're fighting against a terrorist group who hides behind their citizens, there will be innocent casualties because they're in a war. Now, if you're going to take the staunch stance of saying innocent people can never die in any war, we can't fight a war. We can't fight nobody. Terrorists will go and kill you and kidnap your people and hide behind their people, and you can never defend against that. Because at some point, somebody innocent will die in that exchange. Are you can I cuss? Lord, please let me cuss for 5 minutes straight. I want to just cuss y'all out but I'm trying to be a good Christian. What are you saying? If a country came over here and dropped a nuclear bomb in America, we don't fight back because innocent people might die? I'm going to bring Dinesh D'Souza on here in a second because he had some insight to this. Maybe it'll give me some woosah. But let me play this Dave Smith clip before I bring on Dinesh D'Souza here in a second. Roll the clip.
As I'm saying in just Genocide Fest 2025 here, that they had the other day, the whole thing was genocidal in tone. There was, what's that guy? Tatum, who I debated once on Piers Morgan, who I don't hate him, but he might be the dumbest person who's ever talked about politics in the history of the world. And he's up there and he's saying, turn Gaza into a parking lot. True, if I was prime minister, I'd have done it in 48 hours. I'm sorry, people aren't allowed to leave Gaza. If you're saying turn it into a parking lot, you're advocating murdering 1 million children.
1 million children.
What? You just casually.
They always say children. The other people not matter that dies in that. And they know exactly what I was talking about. They know exactly what I was talking about. But these weenies would love to grandstand on this stupid stuff. In the actual speech that I gave, I know because I gave the speech, I had mentioned very clearly that this may not be the right approach, but this is how I felt when it happened. And I said, I'm not advocating against the Palestinian people. But what I'm saying is that there needs to be a statement made that people understand that they can never go into somebody else's country, rape, mutilate, behead, and kidnap people and think that they're going to live to do it again. I'm going to lose my mind in here. These people are so stupid to me that it's mind-blowing. I'll ask Tucker and that wussy next to him, what should they do? When the terrorists come in and rape their women, cut people's head. I saw a video of them cutting people's head off. The dude was hitting them with an axe or something, banging out somebody's head, killing kids. What about the children? They killing children, kidnapped a woman, her kids, killed them. Only thing came back from Gaza were their bodies. Okay, when they do that, what's your next move? What's your next move? Both of you two cowards on here. What's your next move, wussy? Do nothing. Your next move is to do nothing. And what is Hamas's next move? to keep fighting and killing. They're going to come back and do more. And they're going to come back and do more. And they're going to come back till they kill all of the Jews. And you wussies over here, soft as a marshmallow, what do you say they do? Because Hamas does that, and then they go get in a tunnel under a school, under a hospital. And they make their people stand out front facing. And you say, well, we can't do nothing because somebody innocent may die. What war on planet Earth are we giving that standard to? Only the Jews. Only the Jews cannot defend themselves. We dropped nuclear bombs, wiping out millions of people. Hundreds of thousands at one time. They killed a few thousand people on 9/11. We went over to Afghanistan, Iraq, and I think that we killed probably 400,000 people. But do you hear these wussies saying, we can't fight a war in America because Y'all pray for me. Y'all pray for me. Let's play that clip because I got Dinesh coming on. Let's play the clip of him saying that Netanyahu, that fool said that Netanyahu didn't apologize, that they never apologized. Here's the clip of my interview with Benjamin Netanyahu, who wrote a clip.
People point to the Catholic Church that was bombed in Gaza. What do you say to the naysayers who are saying that Christians may be safe in Israel proper, but they're not safe in Gaza, and that there's no regard for Christianity and holy sites in Gaza?
Well, first of all, there are very few number of Christians in Gaza because Hamas is a tyranny. It's a terrorist tyranny that wants to not only murder all the Jews, but it doesn't accept Christianity. It doesn't accept other faiths. It doesn't even accept other persuasions of Islam that they deem are heretics. So it's not good to be a Christian in Gaza. Now, as far as the church you're talking about, that was an unfortunate accident. You know, there are things that happen in war, and they're not intentional. They happen, and a church was bombed. So I called up the Pope, and I said, "Listen, I'm very sorry that this happened. It wasn't intentional, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure that the Christian leaders and the staff can come back to this church. We actually made a safe passage for them, and they can rebuild, with our help, rebuild that church, because that's our policy. Accidents do happen in war, but that in no way reflects on our policy. And in fact, the way we treated this mishap does reflect on our policy, because we actually took care of them, and we do everything in our power to protect them. In a war zone, it's much more difficult, obviously, but we still go to lengths to do that.
I would never respect Tucker Carlson ever again. There's no way whatsoever I will respect Tucker Carlson ever again. Like, I don't know how y'all look at it. You know what it is that Nick was right about this. Nick told me, because I thought he was a rhino. He's still kind of rhinoceros-like, but I thought he was a rhino. But Nick has said, probably for the last 2 years, that there's an undercurrent of racism and stupidity on our side. I'm telling y'all this very clearly. Cut this, crop this. There is an undercurrent of racism on the Republican side. And when it comes down to me or him, the racists are going to pick him because he's white. I'm telling you, I have never received so much racist stuff against me out of anybody than on the right. Now that I support Israel, to them, I've been supporting Israel ever since I thought about Israel. Now they call me the N-word. They call me a monkey. They call me all kind of other stuff. From the right. It ain't the left, it's the right. They've been waiting to call me this. They are waiting till you do something they don't want you to do. And then they're calling you a racist. But let me get to Dinesh D'Souza's clip real quick. I want to play this, and I'm going to bring Dinesh in to talk about it, because one of the only other sane people online right now is Dinesh D'Souza. And you cannot argue his intelligence. You cannot argue his consistency. And that's why I want to talk to him about this topic real quick. But let's go to the clip first. This is Dinesh D'Souza on Tucker Carlson and whether or not he's an anti-Semite or not, with simple questions. Roll the clip.
With regard to Tucker, the simple question is, are his positions, yes or no, clearly anti-Semitic? And so I'm going to give you a test right now looking at some of these positions, and you can decide whether you think they're anti-Semitic, yes or no. I'll tell you what I think. Christian Zionism is a heresy that makes people into supporters of Israel, makes Christians into supporters of Israel, and those who believe this heresy are more detestable to Tucker. Is this anti-Semitic, yes or no? I say yes. Hamas is not a terrorist group. Hamas, rather, is a political movement. So is this anti-Semitic? Yes or no? Is this applying a standard to Israel and the Jews that it doesn't apply to anyone else? I say yes. Sharia law is not really that bad because it creates an orderly society. Jewish influence on the U.S. is far more dangerous than Islamic infiltration. Is this view anti-Semitic? Yes or no? I say yes.
So you heard that, and that's why I want to bring in Dinesh D'Souza himself, because I want to talk to him about this. Dinesh, welcome to the show.
Brandon, it's a real pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Dinesh, I feel like you and I have been literally on the same page on the X posts the last few weeks, and it's been crazy. I cannot believe the gall of some of these people. I cannot believe the stances that even people on our side are taking. What's your thoughts on this? I mean, obviously, Tucker Carlson is losing his mind interviewing Nick Fuentes, and people are actually giving credence to that stuff. But I want to know your perspective, because we just played a video for the audience of you saying that you think that Tucker Carlson is anti-Semitic based on those certain things that he said. So I just want to know your thoughts on this whole thing.
Brandon, I've been thinking about this a lot, and I think I might have a theory that you'll find interesting here. Nick Fuentes, I think, is not really a Nazi, not a genuine Nazi, by which I mean, if you asked him to do the things that Hitler did, he won't do them. And his followers don't think he will do them either. What Nick is a Nazi poser. He's a Nazi performance artist. He is embracing this, quote, Team Hitler label for a reason. And what is that reason? What he's saying to his supporters, it's like an inside communication among them. He's like, I want to give the establishment the ultimate FU, the ultimate middle finger. And how do I do that? I take the ultimate taboo, Nazism, and I boldly, brazenly embrace it. So what you have is a generation of young people, frustrated, dislocated. They feel they've lost the American dream. They're angry. They hate politics. They hate themselves. They hate their life. They stay up all night. Their influence on social media has magnified many times their strength because they spend hours and hours and hours and hours bashing you and me and Dana Loesch and a whole bunch of other people. So we think that there's a whole big army of them. But I think what's happening is that people like Candace, Tucker, and others are trying to recruit these people into a kind of right-wing militia to browbeat the rest of us into submission, ultimately to browbeat TPUSA into submission, Heritage into submission, J.D. Vance into submission. I think they know that they can't get Trump. So they're putting their eyes on post-Trump, and they're trying to twist the Republican Party into something new. So I don't really blame even the young people here. The young people themselves are being used as a pawn, as a battering ram. It's being done by some very clever Pied Pipers who have a power move within the Republican Party. So I'm very eager to get your response to that analysis, because it's a little different than just saying, hey, we're seeing a rising tide of anti-Semitism. Hey, these guys are genuine, like this is like a new Hitler phenomenon of the 21st century. I don't think it is. I think something else is going on.
Dinesh, you make a really interesting point. It's incredibly confusing to me, because I do see your point exactly, because especially the Nick Fuentes guy, he just seemed like he just trolls all day long. He says the most outlandish things. He uses the N-word. He does a lot of salacious stuff. And that's why he's popular, because he's shocking the people. And then it's like a shock, or they call it like a flash in the pan. he gets really, really popular because all of this shocking stuff he's doing, and he's talking crazy, and he's taking all these crazy positions, and then he begin to die out because he don't really have any substance. But I also am confused about Tucker Carlson, because I really used to think that Tucker Carlson was very thoughtful. I thought he was more intelligent than he's coming across lately. He's not very deep about the things that he considered to be his positions. When he said that it's a Christian heresy, I have never seen Tucker Carlson. Now, I don't watch all of his stuff. I have never seen him give a biblical reference to anything that he's saying when it comes to Christian heresy. When he's crying about what Jews are doing and saying that they're killing innocent people in Christian faith, we can never have innocents ever die. But he don't apply that to any other government. He will never say that about Muslims or Islam. He will never say anything about Joseph Stalin, who Nick Fuentes on his show said he beloved. Like, why won't he get crazy and critical when it comes to things like that? So Dinesh, I'm confused, because I don't know if these people are just disingenuous or their true colors are showing. It's a very confusing state to me.
Yes. Tucker, very interestingly, does not defend anything, right? Have you ever heard him? He'll say something like, oh, he'll have a guest who will say, we should have allied with Hitler against Stalin in World War II. Now, have you ever heard him give a reason, like, for example, argue that somehow Stalin was more dangerous to the world than Hitler at the time? No attempt to even explain. Tucker just scratches his head, rubs his chin, very interesting, and then that's it. Tucker's defense of Maduro. I mean, you're talking about a socialist left. Even the Democrats won't defend Venezuela. You've got a narco-terrorist socialist left. And right at the time when really Qatar is putting a lot of lobbying money, this was in the New York Times, to convince Trump not to overthrow the Maduro regime. Right on cue, Tucker is like, here's why Maduro is okay. And guess what? This is Tucker's argument. Maduro may be a socialist, but he's socially conservative. He's socially conservative. You've got an absolute whack job Maduro who's into all kinds of voodoo. He's into Santeria, but somehow for Tucker, he's socially conservative. Have you ever heard Tucker make a real defense of Sharia law? No, he'll say, well, Sharia is pretty good. I mean, I like law and order. What's wrong with law and order? Now, of course, in Sharia, if you leave the Muslim faith, they can put a fatwa on you, and any random guy can come and stab you in the back. So does Tucker have a defense of that? Is he going to explain why that's a really good idea? Or does he like certain parts of Sharia but not others? He won't say. He's never said. He doesn't even attempt to say. So quite clearly what we're dealing with here is the insinuation of these poisonous ideas. And while you and I can debate the motivation, we can see the effect, right? This is actually fracturing the MAGA coalition. It has completely taken attention away from Trump and Trump's agenda. It has potentially long-term effects of chasing away Jews and blacks and Latinos from the Republican Party. So this is not something that can be just dismissed. Whatever the motivations, the effects are very malevolent.
That is, Tucker, when you say those things, and I just don't know what. Is it financial motive? I just don't get it, man. He will not, like you said, he's talking about Maduro, and there is no scenario whatsoever of a person who is in socialism that produces, or a person that believes in socialism to have a social economic system, or to the extent that they do, that pushes communism and all of this stuff, that they have an effective country. When he talks about Sharia law, he mentions like Abu Dhabi and some of these other places that are doing okay. I mean, a lot of people don't want to live there, obviously, but then he goes off and don't talk about what Sharia law's effects are in other countries, that people are getting killed every day. Women are oppressed. I don't understand how this is the thing, Dinesh, with all that we've said, I don't understand how people don't see it, because it seems as if he still has a lot of fans that love him and they support him. And they're like, I stand with Tucker. And it's like, are you listening to the old Tucker? Or are you listening to the stuff he's been doing? I mean, that the Jews, he had a guy on his show that said the Jews have created AI to destroy the world. He had another one that insinuated that the Jews had something to do with COVID-19 because the Ashkenazi Jews had a lesser effect from the virus than other Jewish people. He don't push back at all. What is your thoughts?
Well,
Why can't people see it?
it's because ultimately, I think the young people who are rallying to Tucker are not, in fact, considering the merits of any of these positions. In fact, I think what's going on is in some ways, when a Ben Shapiro, for example, comes out and says, hey, listen, Tucker is misunderstanding the place of Israel, the value of Israel, what Israel provides to America in the form of intelligence, and so on. It's in a way it plays into Tucker's hands because Tucker's whole shtick is all you people are Israel first, and I am America first. So Tucker wants to own this America First label, and most people, these young people, don't care what content is under that label. It's almost like the positioning here is critical. And so I think this is why people like you and me are very dangerous to Tucker, because first of all, we're not Jewish. And so he can't stick us with the Jewish label. You and I have been America First from the beginning. Everything I've done, all my earlier movies, people will say, well, Dinesh, why are you so obsessed with Israel? I'm like, in 30 years, I've actually never discussed Israel until now. This is the first time I'm doing a film on it, first time I'm talking about the subject. So in that sense, Tucker would like it to be that he's got him and he's got Bannon and a few other guys on his side, and he wants to have all Jews on the other side because he will make it then seem like they don't care about America. They've got some other foreign agenda, and he, Tucker, is bravely standing up for the ordinary, neglected, forgotten man and woman in this country.
Yeah, it's so sad that he's doing that because that's further from the truth. We're America first by far, and America first is America interest first, and supporting Israel is in America's best interest. And partnering with Israel and then being our ally is in America's best interest. And I hate that they conflate a few things because AIPAC, I'd never heard of AIPAC before, because I wasn't into the lobby stuff until like recently, and when people accused me of getting money from AIPAC. And then I looked into it and I said, well, if you want to have a discussion of the power of the Israeli lobby, then you also should want to have a discussion of the power of the Qatarian lobby and all the other lobbies that's going on, the Chinese lobby, the Japanese lobby, you name it, Saudi Arabia's lobby. If you want to have a conversation about lobbying, foreign governments lobbying in America, let's have a conversation with the truth being in place as AIPAC isn't a foreign government. That's another thing that I thought that AIPAC was it must have been a foreign thing and they just got some unique exceptions. It's like, no, American citizens are choosing how they want to lobby. And that's totally fine. And if it was foreign influence, then they should be registered as FARA. But the thing is, Dinesh, even if they were registered as FARA, they still wouldn't be top 5 for lobby groups that have put money into the American government.
I mean, Brandon, in some ways, look, on the one hand, they will say about Israel is so dependent on America that if the United States were to cut off $3.8 billion of aid, Israel would collapse. Their society is absolutely dependent on America. So they say that on the one hand. On the other hand, they go, Israel owns America. Israel is buying off every politician, every congressman, which is it? Either Israel has the infinite resources to buy off a country that is 30 times its own size with a vastly bigger GNP and vastly greater military power. So I don't think in the end it is about consistency. What's really happened is this. I think it's a marketing thing in this respect. You've got a lot of young people who I think rightly believe that there are elites who have other priorities, who have put these young people, at the bottom of their list. And so there's a lot of anger directed at the uniparty against these elites. And what's happening is like guys like Tucker and Fuentes come in and they say to these young people, guess what? We have all these elites. We have all these deep state embedded in the government, all these shady players. But there is one master elite controlling the elite of the elites, and that's the Jews. So this is why a lot of young people go for it, because there's a lot of truth. I mean, I made a movie, Police State, about these embedded forces in the government that deploy the weaponry of the government against citizens. So there's some truth in what these young people believe, but what is being added is a new element, a nefarious element that is untrue, but which is falling on receptive ears. And that's why I think these young people in the end are being manipulated.
Dinesh, I'm gonna have to bring you back to talk about this more. I know we're short on time. You did put out a documentary, and I didn't get a chance to see it in full, but just the preview of it when we talked about it last time was just tremendous. And you told me how you got firsthand body camera essentially from the perspective of Hamas, which a lot of people have never seen before. So can you just tell us real quick how do people find the movie, watch the movie, and also how can they follow you on social media?
Yeah, follow me on social media on X at Dinesh D'Souza. I do a daily podcast, the Dinesh D'Souza podcast. The film is called The Dragon's Prophecy. It's about all the stuff that you and I, Brandon, have been just talking about. It is both timely but also timeless. The website is the Dragons, plural, the dragonsProphecyFilm.com. It's streaming. You can also order the DVD. So in some ways, what I like about the film is it takes the issues and events happening in front of our eyes, but it also connects them to ancient events in the Bible, looking back, and biblical archaeology, but it also looks forward at a hint of things to come. What does the Bible foretell? So a hint of biblical prophecy. You would actually be blown away by the film. Find some time to check it out, Brandon, and I hope your audience will check it out as well.
I will definitely do that. My next flight, I'm putting it on and I'm watching the whole thing. Dinesh D'Souza, God bless you, and thank you so much for coming on.
Always a pleasure.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Dinesh D'Souza, y'all go check him out. One of my favorites. I mean, he's been a legend forever, and I'm actually glad to see some of the people that I admire that are legends that are on the right side, in my opinion, on the right side of this topic, the biblical side of the topic, the common sense side of the topic, the never changing, conviction side of the topic. I mean, these other people are just flip-flopping, like they change their ideas like they change their underwear. It's like, dude, what do you believe in next? You just into something else. You know, Sharia law is terrible. The Muslim Brotherhood is terrible. Islam is the biggest threat to America. These transgender nut jobs that are indoctrinated and got all these hormones and they're mentally ill, they are the ones that are out here trying to kill conservatives. But yet they looking at the Jew somewhere. You should be ashamed of yourself because you know better than that. Y'all got to find a Jew somewhere minding their own business with a yarmulke on, thinking that that's the enemy of America. Show me a Jew that's done a terrorist attack in America. Show me a Jew that line their own people up and they shoot them in the middle of the street like Hamas. Show me a people that start a war and then they go in the tunnels, the terrorists, and then the people got to sit outside of the tunnels. In Israel, the people go in the tunnel and the IDF are sitting outside the tunnel. All right, we're gonna make this quick. All right, Ben Shapiro went hard on the topic of Nick Fuentes, and I want to end on that. But I want to go to Marjorie Taylor Greene first, but we'll end on the Nick Fuentes thing because I think it needs a little bit of time because there are so many videos of Ben Shapiro just completely destroying Nick Fuentes and destroying their whole narrative. But let's go to Marjorie Taylor Greene because she's another nutty person. And I have zero respect for Marjorie Taylor Greene. I have zero respect for her. Like she's literally, these people would do anything to stay in power. And they get in the office and they swear to us, I'm not like the rest of them. I'm not that type of person. I'm going to always be America first. I'm going to always stand on these things. And then when the rubber hit the road and it's getting a little dicey of whether or not she's going to get primaried, now all of a sudden she cozying up to the other side. Let me just play this and she's such a disingenuous person. Roll the clip.
I want to talk about MAGA voters who believed that the president made promises like lowering grocery prices on day one. Right now, grocery prices, inflation is up, soybean and cattle farmers are on the verge of bankruptcy. Millions have lost their food stamps and are about to lose their health care while we're watching $40 billion to bail out Argentina. What is going on?
I don't know. I am so America first. I feel like I live it and breathe it. And
What?
That's my district, and that's what people want. They are so tired of their hard-earned tax dollars being sent overseas to foreign wars and foreign aid and foreign causes, while life in America just becomes more and more unaffordable. We want this money invested at home for our infrastructure, for programs, for our people, and most importantly, for my children's generation and their children and their children and generations to come. And I have to say, that's what I've campaigned on the entire time. Everybody's like, Marjorie Taylor Greene has changed. And I'm like, oh no, nothing has changed about me. I am staying absolutely 100% true to the people that voted for me and true to my district. And I am so angry when I drive around my district to all these beautiful little rural small towns. And there's manufacturing plants that are crumbling from decades of lost industry. Small businesses that got shuttered during COVID lockdowns and COVID shutdowns. And you want to know something else, Whoopi? So many veterans that went over and had to fight in some war that really had nothing to do with where they were from or their hometown, and their lives and families' lives have been so affected. So for me, I am unapologetically America first, and I'll do anything I can to work hard to save this country.
Maybe you should become a Democrat, Marjorie.
No, I'm not a Democrat. You want to know something? I'll say this. I think both parties have failed.
You know, when Whoopi Goldberg, that's why I like Byron Donalds and some of these other people, because they're genuine human beings. When Whoopi Goldberg lies and says that Donald Trump inflation is up and the grocery prices are out of control, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, can you respond to that? Do you believe that? And the woman didn't answer nothing Whoopi said. She started going into the political rehearsed statement. People in my district, no. It's Donald Trump. When I look this up, it doesn't say inflation is up. It says inflation is steady and low moderate, which means that inflation is right around when he came into office. And, now that it's September, or as of September 2025, inflation has been almost the same. It's been steady. But the stock market is breaking records. Like, I don't understand how people, it just bothers me. I'm going to get to the thing, but I don't understand how Marjorie Taylor Greene isn't prepared to defend her own party on The View. You should have come in knowing that they're going to talk about inflation, knowing they're going to talk about, well, Donald Trump promised this. Well, Donald Trump also promised that he's going to shut the border down, and he did. Donald Trump is not an oracle. He's saying these are the things that I'm going to do to try to get prices down, because the Democrats have done nothing to get prices down. Inflation has been steady. The price of eggs have gone down. Look at this. While the rate is moderate now, inflation has fallen well below 2% target by central banks using. Saying that inflation is down depends on what baseline you're using, right? And with that being said, one could argue that inflation is down 2 points, 2%. Why did Marjorie Taylor Greene say any of that? All right, let's continue. Let's listen to this bleach blonde foolery that's going on. What's the next clip? Roll it.
They say that you're slamming Republicans too much. Well, you're taking my job. You're slamming Republicans a lot on topics like health care, the Epstein files. We know he's still your favorite president. I mean, Truman is mine. I dated him.
But I did not date Donald Trump. But I do love him.
You do love him, yeah.
Yes, I did.
All right, well, whatever. So when was the last time you spoke to him? And what's with the tension between the two of you? You may love him, but he may not love you back right now.
Well, that's okay. I mean, Donald Trump, he usually yells at everybody, so we're all used to it. But he's the president of the United States, and here's something you all may not know about me. I think a lot of people on the left are learning that when I ran for Congress in 2020, I ran criticizing Republicans and Democrats equally, because I come from a working class family, ran a construction company for over 20 years, and I feel like the government has failed all of us. And it purely disgusts me. It really does. And I represent a district that is rural, a manufacturing district, blue-collar workers, and people have been crushed by decades of failure in Washington, D.C. And so I have no problem pointing fingers at everyone. And the worst thing that I that I just can't get over is we're not working right now. And I put that criticism directly on the Speaker of the House. And we should be at work. All the people sitting in this audience, they go to work every day. People at home watching this show, they go to work every day. Ladies, you go to work every day. The people on your set, and it is an embarrassment to me that we're not in session.
And getting paid.
I'm not taking a paycheck.
Good for you.
Exactly.
I'm not taking a paycheck.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You know why she's not taking a paycheck? Because her net worth went from $700,000 to $20 million. So of course she probably don't need a paycheck. All that other money she's making from being a congressperson, the books and all this other stuff. It's just like these pastors. They go pastor, they build their church and make you pay tithes and offering, guilt you into it, and they go sell a book and make $1 million off of the platform you built for them with tithes and offering. And then they go, I don't need no money from y'all. Well, you already made your money. They didn't build your platform. You sell a book, you keep all the money. And sometimes what they'll do to be a New York Times bestseller is they'll buy all the books and then sell it to or they buy them, give it to their congregation so they can say that the church bought the books, so they can say that they sold out these books, or they get the church to have to buy them, and then the church have bought their books, so then they can become a New York Times bestseller. It's all fraudulent. Not everybody that's doing it is fraudulent, but there is fraudulent things that's being done. And this snag-a-tooth tiger, I want to call her something else, but she is disingenuous. You would think if you were a genuine individual and you got a chance to go on a View, you would push back on these women that have been talking trash about you and everybody else all this time. I didn't see none of that. You would think that you would have at least something to defend Donald Trump when you go on there because you love Donald Trump. And you generically say both sides have failed us. So is Donald Trump failing us right now? Marjorie Taylor Greene, is Donald Trump failing us right now? You claim you love him, but what would your response be? Okay, let's finish playing the clip.
They're the only ones.
Well, like the air controllers.
List. I think that should be a public list.
Yeah.
I think that's fair because our paychecks are taxpayer funded.
Correct.
However, I voted to fund the federal government on September 18th. I want all federal employees to be paid. I want all the programs to be funded. And I think that is our job, all of us together, Republicans and Democrats in the House and the Senate. And I'll look, I'm with women, so I feel very comfortable saying this. I'm really tired of the pissing contest in Washington, D.C. between the men. Yeah. I really am.
Here it is, wench go up here trying to play the women card. What? Lord, help me not to say things like this about these women. I know they probably going to hell, but help me have the wisdom to not say crazy things about these women. Like, why bring up the woman card? A peeing contest between two men. What are you even talking about? Why won't you, when you on The View, why won't you explain the dilemma? You claim you voted to open up the government. Every Republican except like 2 voted to open up the government. The Democrats are not voting. Why won't you bring in the account that they want to fund illegal aliens getting government assistance is the reason why Republicans are upset with the Democrats and the Democrats won't fund it. Why don't you give the nuance while you on the show in front of the world for your party's sake? Because the Republicans have all voted. Majority of them have voted to open the government, but they need 60 votes. So it's going to have to take some Democrats to vote. And the Democrats have not voted, but 2 of them, 2 or 3 of them. They need like 2 more Democrats or something, and then we can open up the government. Marjorie Taylor Greene, what are you doing? We got another clip. 503, roll it.
Congresswoman, it's so nice to have you. And I watched you on Bill Maher, and I think you've been extremely eloquent in this shutdown in talking about the issue of Obamacare subsidies. I'm a Republican too. We don't agree on everything, but we both agree we have to extend these subsidies at least for a year because you just can't pull the rug out from under people who are going to see their premiums skyrocket. You talked about your own family, how you'd be impacted, but I imagine many of the 700,000 constituents you represent.
She only cares because it's her family.
So what are you hearing from your constituents on this issue, and how do you see this shutdown ending?
My phone in my office, my district office in Washington, is ringing off the hook every single day. People are beyond outraged and they're terrified, but this has been going on for a long time. Democrats voted for the ACA in 2010. It went into effect in 2014. That was the year that we saw our health insurance policy for a family of 5 go from $800 a month to $2,400 a month. And I'll say this, we also watch health insurance companies drop out of the market, and healthcare costs have risen and risen and risen and risen. But I'm going to pick on Republicans. Republicans never fixed it. And then the ACA tax credits were passed in 2021, and there was a sunset date of the end of this year. And Republicans never made a plan for that. And I have been I yelled at Mike Johnson last week on our GOP conference call. By the way, I'm missing the call today. It's going on right now. And I hope that Mike Johnson is finally giving a single health care policy because the country deserves it, and it shouldn't be a secret. And I shouldn't have to go into a skiff to go find our Republican health insurance plan.
Maybe
Honestly,
there is no plan.
You know what? You want to know something? That, I believe, is the truth. There's a lot of ideas, there's a lot of bills, but there's no consensus.
Yeah.
And I think that's a failure. I do.
All right, this fool act like she not in Congress. Ma'am, Mike Johnson is the one that's supposed to go. Like, what is your proposal? What is your plan? We all know this must be incredibly complicated, or we would have had this solved. But Marjorie Taylor Greene, when you're on television and you're bashing the Republican Party, which you're bashing Congress, which you're a part of, what is your solution? I would expect her to say this. Republicans should propose this. And why they're not proposing this is beyond me. But you don't have a proposal yourself. You've been in Congress like 2 or 3 terms already. What have you done? What have you proposed? What have your office proposed? What is your solution to the problem? Well, you know, Republicans don't have a plan. You are a Republican. Speaker Mike Johnson, you voted for Speaker Mike Johnson. And if you didn't, your party overwhelmingly supported Mike Johnson. That's why he's the Speaker of the House. I'm finna jump out of building. Speaker of the House is Mike Johnson. You are a representative in the House. What are you proposing as a measure to fix the Obamacare issue? When she say Republicans have not done nothing, we repealed the fees that they were charging us. I don't know if y'all remember that. If you didn't sign up for Obamacare, they'll hit you with some crazy fee, which was illegal, I think. We repealed that. So you don't get penalized if you don't sign up for Obamacare. And it was other stuff that we've tried to do. But instead of complaining, being and moaning about Republicans, you should have been on the show giving some solutions and saying, okay, Republicans don't agree, and this is a solution that I proposed. You're not proposing anything or doing anything to help. That's why I'm done talking about you. Sorry, son of a gun. These people are so fickle. All right, now let's get to the fun part. Ben Shapiro makes a 40-minute video about Nick Fuentes. And y'all know I've been critical of Ben Shapiro because of my friend Candace. In the past, I was upset with him the way he handled firing Candace. I'll leave it at that. Also, you know, because of that, I feel like it was a little bit of tension there. But I'm always open to saying, if you're telling the freaking truth, you're telling the truth. I don't care if I like you, didn't like you, didn't want to like you. If you're telling the truth, you're telling the truth. This is one of the most sane articulations online about this topic of Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson and all that. And he also goes on to show, because most people are retarded and they cannot look on the internet to see how crazy Nick Fuentes really is. And so they out here acting like he's a normal person. And so is your boy Tucker Carlson is acting like he's just a normal person. And Ben Shapiro showed all the crazy lunatic things that he said. And after you watch this, because I know it's a bunch of you weenies on here that probably still support Nick Fuentes, that's probably 4'3", and probably would cry if he ever saw a real gun, you know, whatever. I don't want to go down that path. He's such a... Behave yourself, Brandon. But let's play the clip of Ben Shapiro, and we'll play a bunch of clips of Nick Fuentes saying the craziest things that you ever heard. Let's go with clip 301 first, and then we'll go clip 302. Roll it.
Let's make one thing clear. This is not about free speech or cancellation. It was never about free speech or cancellation. Free speech has a definition: the right to speak free of governmental coercion. I believe in it, of course. I've always defended it. Criticism of bad speech is, in fact, just a form of free speech. Cancellation also has a definition: the banning of particular people, including people like Nick Fuentes, from platforms like X or Facebook. I believe that Nick Fuentes is odious and despicable, but I've never called for his cancellation, and in fact, I've called for his restoration to those services, despite the fact that I think he's odious and despicable. It is not cancellation to draw moral lines between viewpoints. In fact, we used to call that one of the key aspects of conservatism. It is not cancellation to refuse to signal boost Hitler's supporters like Nick Fuentes. It is not cancellation to criticize Tucker Carlson for rhetorically fluffing Nick Fuentes and other anti-American crackpots. It's not cancellation if you urge others to stop promoting those who rhetorically fluff Nazi apologists. Those are all elements of free speech. And anyone who says differently is lying to you, and lying for the most cynical reasons, to misdirect from their own defense of those Nazi apologists and their promoters. The issue here isn't that Tucker Carlson had Nick Fuentes on his show last week. He has every right to do that, of course. The issue here is that Tucker Carlson decided to normalize and fluff Nick Fuentes, and that the Heritage Foundation then decided to robustly defend that performance. Those who criticize both Tucker and Heritage aren't canceling. They are quite properly drawing a moral line.
Period. Let's go 302.
Americans hate Tucker Carlson's laundered anti-Americanism. Republicans think it's trash. Independents think it's trash. Democrats think it's trash. Americans are not pro-segregation, pro-rape, anti-woman, pro-child marriage, anti-black, anti-Jew, anti-Indian, anti-Latino, anti-Constitution, pro-Hitler nutjobs like Nick Fuentes. And Americans are not pro-Putin, pro-Iran, pro-China, pro-Venezuela, pro-Hamas, pro-Fuentes, pro-Tate idiots like Tucker Carlson. They hate this vile garbage. If Republicans decide to cower before the likes of neo-Nazis and their propagandizers, they deserve to lose. And they will lose. Neo-Nazis and their propagandizers are not Republicans. They are not America First. They are not MAGA. They sure as hell aren't conservative. These people aren't to my right. They are not attached in any way to the fundamental principles of conservatism. And these people have already declared themselves to be my enemies. I'd be a fool not to take them seriously. If they get their way, they will hollow out the Republican Party, lead it to electoral catastrophe, and empty it and the country of any semblance of decency in the process. My answer is no. No to the Groypers. No to their publicists like Tucker Carlson. No to those who champion them. No to demoralization. No to bigotry and anti-meritocratic horseshit. No to anti-Americanism. No. This is our country. This is our party. And this is our conservative movement. And I will not stand by while it is handed over to those who betray the most fundamental principles I have spent my entire life defending and advocating. That is a path to defeat and a path to moral oblivion. I reject it because if we lose the right, we will lose to the left. And either way, we'll lose the country.
All right, now let's get to the Nick Fuentes clips because this guy is completely disgusting and people should be paying attention to it. 303, roll it.
And then, of course, there's Tucker Carlson's relationship with the vice president. Certainly, Vice President Vance has been quite generous with Tucker Carlson. That loyalty was not reciprocated last week, to say the least. Here, for example, is what Nick Fuentes has said about J.D. Vance's wife, Usha.
Andrew Tate and Bronze Age pervert and all these people, for years, all they talk about is going to the gym, being a vitalist, fighting the Matrix, India smells bad, all this kind of shit. And now they're all in favor of a fat race mixer who's married to a Jeet who named his son Vivek, who was mentored by a Jewish neocon and a gay Fed, Peter Thiel. This guy has a non-white wife and a kid named Vivek. This guy is going to be a defender of white identity? I don't think so. This guy's going to defend American identity?
You slammed J.D. Vance for having an Indian wife. Yet Trump's wife is an immigrant who was working here illegally for a time. His son is half foreign, bilingual, and holds dual citizenship. Yet you give him a pass. You're either a hypocrite or just retarded.
She's white! Dude, she's white! If we had millions of Slovenian supermodels immigrating to America, I don't think we'd have a big problem with it.
Tucker Carlson had on Nick Fuentes and did not ask him a single question about any of this. He just brought him on to launder his ugly ideas and make him more popular. That doesn't seem quite like the act of a friend.
All right, next clip.
Nick Fuentes says women want to be raped.
A lot of women want to be raped. And when I say raped, I mean like, that sounds bad when I say it like that. But there's like a lot of women that really want a guy to beat the shit out of them. But also they have to pretend, but part of it is they have to pretend like they don't.
Keep going.
Nick Fuentes says that his followers should kill, rape, and die in his name.
Raise your right hand. All right, everybody raise your right hand. Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I will kill, rape, and die for Nicholas J. Fuentes.
Hold on a second. Now, I don't understand how people take him seriously. Like, just the clips that we're showing, because many of us knew about this guy for a long time. It's just that we know he a nut, so nobody's really taking him seriously. He was banned on every platform, which to be honest, man, if I owned a platform and somebody was doing what he doing, I don't want you on my. You're creating drama on my platform. This is a place where people can share ideas in a genuine way. I don't want you. You don't have to be on somebody's private platform. So if he got banned on all these platforms, I don't think it's a problem. If Facebook say we don't want stuff like this on our platform, you saying the N-word and doing all this, we don't owe you. These platforms don't owe you free speech. Free speech is that the government can't suppress your speech. That's what free speech is. That's our constitutional right. A platform don't have to uphold that. And I don't care. I could care less, because I would hope that the more people listen to him, the more they realize he's stupid. But anyway, let's move along. Let's keep rolling those clips.
Nick Fuentes says that women are whores who shouldn't be in politics.
I will continue my crusade against women in politics. Because it's always like this, and it's so ironic. Women are like, I don't like, when you say, you have to affect the face. When you say to repeal the 19th Amendment, that offends me. That hurts my feelings. It's like, have you ever stopped and considered that maybe if you get offended, there's such a strong emotional reaction to political opinions you disagree with across the board? Maybe that's one of the reasons why you shouldn't be making political decisions. I'm not attacking women. I'm attacking whores. You have no problems, right? I'm attacking whores. I'm attacking stupid, dirty.
Nick Fuentes says that Jim Crow was actually better for black people.
It was better for them too, number one, but number two, who cares? Who cares? You know, enough with the Jim Crow stuff. Who cares? Oh, they had to drink out of a different water fountain. Big deal. Oh no, they had to go to a different school. Their water fountain in that famous picture was worse. Who cares? Grow up, drink out of the water fountain. It's water, it's the same. You know, and, you know, even if it was bad, who cares? Who cares? It's better. It's better in general. We all agree it was better for them. It's better for us. Better in general.
Jim Crow is better. It's crazy.
Nick Fuentes says that white people are justified in being racist.
The reason that we talk about this, by the way, I know a lot of black people see this and they go, man, why are you always talking about black people, this and that? Because there just needs to be some shame here. Well, there's a few reasons. First, white people are every single bit justified in being racist. Every single bit justified, to the extent that that means going out of your way to avoid black people when you see them.
Hold on a second. Going out of, like this is why people are racist and stupid instead of being logical. White people going out their way to avoid criminals, yeah, that makes sense. And so should black people go out their way to avoid criminals. We do it all the time. But when you say white people should go out of their way to avoid black people, he didn't just say criminals. He's generalizing that white people should avoid black people altogether. Like all black people out here cutting up. All right. Let's get to another video. We got a whole bunch of these. I think it's 309.
Nick Fuentes is a Hitler admirer and a Holocaust denier.
Buddy, it's Führer Friday. It is Hitler Friday. Shut up. It is Heil Hitler Friday, Nick. Heil Hitler, all my niggas, Nazis. Hitler was a pedophile and kind of a pagan. It's like, well, he was also really cool. So, time to grow up. We're not children anymore. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right, boys? Am I right? Let's go.
Nick Fuentes believes that the Jews start all the wars, that perfidious Jews in positions of power ought to be killed, and says the Jews are filth who have to be removed from the country.
And once again, remember who is responsible for it all: the Jews. They are responsible for every war in the world. It's not even debatable at this point. This has nothing to do with oil. This has nothing to do with democracy. This has nothing to do with liberal internationalism. We are at war with Iran because they pose a threat to Israel's hegemony. That's why we're bombing their nukes, to pave the way for regime change so Israel can dominate the region, because that makes them the most powerful they can be. There is an occult element at the high levels of society, and specifically among the Jews. So many of the people that are perpetrating the lies and the destruction on the country, they are evildoers. They are people that worship false gods. They are people that practice magic or rituals or whatever. And more than anything, those people need to be, when we take power, they need to be given the death penalty. Straight up. And I'm far more concerned about that than I am about even non-white people or mass migration. These people that are communing with demons and engaging in this sort of witchcraft and stuff, and these people that are suppressing the name Christ and suppressing Christianity, they must be absolutely annihilated when we take power. This is God's country. This is Jesus's country. This is not the domain of atheists or devil worshippers or perfidious Jews. This is Christ's country.
Nick Fuentes, it should be mentioned, despises Donald Trump and the MAGA movement as well.
That's one.
You suck. You are fat. You are a joke. You are stupid. You are not funny. You are not as smart as you think you are. You are, and honestly, and if you watch my show, I've been very critical. I've never been this far. This just goes to show this entire thing has been a scam. When we look back on the history of populism in America, we are going to look back on the MAGA movement as the biggest scam in American history. And the liberals were right. The MAGA supporters were had. They were.
I think that's all the clips we can stomach today. Ben Shapiro may have had more, but we played a lot of the relevant clips that you can see how stupid this guy is. And this is why people like Charlie did not want to debate this guy, because you legitimize an illegitimate person. I'm just saying, like, if a person is claiming to be an up-and-coming basketball star and their first shot at a one-on-one session is with Michael Jordan or somebody, or LeBron James, like, bro, you got to put in the work to go against LeBron James. Because then if you get a one-on-one with LeBron James, what does that mean? That means LeBron James thinks that you even have a chance. And maybe some people will argue that if LeBron James beat you by 600 points, then maybe the world can see that you didn't have a chance. But some people just aren't worth it. Let me give you an example. I'm not going to say the guy's name, but this guy he told me to eat a you-know-what on my DM. But this guy is out here just sending me all kind of crazy, stuff. And he did a video the other day and tried to tag my name in it, like, send this to Brandon. And I was about to pull up on him on the thing. I said, pull up on the podcast. While you running your mouth, pull up on the podcast. I'll debate any of these people anywhere. I mean, I can debate these people anywhere, right? The dude came and said, how's the merch going? Let me tell you how stupid this person is. This fool. So Charlie dies. Everybody that really cared about Charlie, that got any sense, is like, how do we help Turning Point? How do we help Erica? This fool who owns a merch store says, I was going to make a shirt, but I don't want to make a shirt because I made profit off of it. Let's put 2 and 2 together. This fool never made any merch and gave no money to Erica and Turning Point. We made a shirt and we gave 100% of the profits to her. And the numbers got to be at $500,000 right now. I don't know. I haven't checked the books, but we're probably going to write her at this point, maybe a close to a $500,000 check. So you cowards say, I'm not going to do nothing because I might make a profit off of it. You give nothing. And somebody like myself is probably going to give around $500,000. Like, what sense did that make, you coward? And then the guy goes, how's the merch doing? Then he says something like, because somebody sent me this video, and I almost responded. My wife told me, oh, look at this guy. He a troll. And I went back and looked at some messages the fool sent me, and I never sent them a message. He just in there fangirling. He says something else like, Brandon said, when he was at the Jewish coalition, the Republican Jewish coalition, and then Brandon said that, I forget what he said. He said something about Charlie, because Charlie questioned. Brandon said, if you question, he don't have time for people questioning Israel. No, everybody with a brainstem know what I'm saying. If you ask legitimate questions, which I have asked legitimate questions, which I have asked Benjamin Netanyahu, which I asked the IDF soldier or IDF colonel that I interviewed, about the timeliness of the response and all this other stuff. So you can question it, but there's a difference between asking legitimate questions and you are rhetorically asking questions that you know the answer for, and you're framing an argument in the form of a question. I'm just asking questions. The Jews run everything. I'm just asking, why do the Jews run everything? Why do the Jews run America? That's not a real question. That's stupid. So anyway, that's who I'm talking about. And the other one was, I said this very clearly, and if you watch my speech, you'll get it. I said, if a person don't realize, I said, Israel is one of our biggest allies. I didn't say that they were our biggest. I said they're one of our biggest allies. And if you don't believe that, you fall in one of two categories. You're either ignorant or you just hate Jews. Put your thinking cap on. This dude fell in the category that I'm talking about. Is it not true that Israel is one of our biggest allies? Not only do we give them more money than just about anybody, we also support them more than anybody, and we get intelligence from them and all of that. Our relationship go back and forth. One of our biggest allies. Donald Trump was just down there negotiating a peace deal. Benjamin Netanyahu has come to our government and spoke before Congress probably more than any other president or prime minister of any country. Donald Trump says they're one of our biggest allies. J.D. Vance, our government's position for the last several decades, have been that Israel has been one of our biggest allies. For you to reject that and to say it's not true, you're too ignorant to realize that it is true, or you hate Jews so much you don't want to recognize it. This dude fell in the category. What a dumb person. Dave Smith tomorrow, I'm going to get on his head because he is the weakest. I guarantee if I met Dave Smith and he wanted to shake my hand, first of all, I'll crush his little hand. He'd probably shake hands like a bee, and I'll just hear them bones crack in his hand when I grab it like this to shake his hand. That's what kind of man he is. And it's probably wet and damp. One of these damp hand dudes that'll give you a handshake with it limp and damp like this. Men that shake my hand like that, I try to squeeze until I hear some bones pop in it. Because they not real men, these dudes, softer than a marshmallow, softer than wet toilet paper. I can't stand these dudes, man. These dudes will never strap on a uniform and put their life on the line for nobody. They'll never do it because they're wussies. That's why they like, oh my God, innocent people may die, and it's a war. Now, if you ain't got no business going to somebody else's country, that's a different story. But when you get invaded and they do things, they got your hostages, you just do nothing. Nick, y'all pray for me. Pray for me. You just do nothing. Y'all don't have that warrior spirit. You have that wussy spirit. You had that, I don't want any innocent person to die. You let somebody, like they're just like saying somebody break in my house, I might even get aroused by this. You break into my house, it may do something to me. I'm going to enjoy every minute of them 5.56s flying through my house, breaking the sound barrier, and then dragging you out on the porch. There you go. Let me match up. Dragging you out on the porch. I'm going to drag you because I got a long way to drag you. From the front door, I got to go through the gate out to the porch, and then the curbside, I'm going to lay you down there for the police to get you. And I may have dreams about that. But these little weenies will let a man come in the house and take their wife and don't hurt anybody. I don't want anybody to get hurt, please. They probably don't even have a gun at the house. I don't want you come in my house, they'll make you, hey, woo. Ugh. Haven't had excitement in a while. Here, come on in here and let these rounds fly. I love to hear them. I love to smell that gunpowder. 5.56 gunpowder. Barrel burn. I want to burn the tip of my hand with that barrel. Just squeeze. Anyway, I'm kind of joking. I love you guys. See you on the next one. I'm out of here.
Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave. I'm a proud American from my birth to the grave. 47's the top. Took